Welcome back. This is section 2.5, ratios, percentages, and decimals. So the way we're going to start this one is by talking about the unit ratio. And what the unit ratio means is that it's just something over 1. So the definition is A over B with B equal to 1. And an example of this that I have is if you go to the grocery store, I don't know how many of you have noticed this, but on the little tag, they'll show you something like the cost per 1 ounce. I'm going to write that down. Cost per 1 ounce. And what that means is that they're trying to show you kind of what's the better deal, right? So if you aren't quite sure what is the better deal, it is written on the tag. It's kind of small. Check it out next time that you're at the store. And it'll just kind of show you that, like the cost per ounce, say like laundry detergent. If you buy a bigger thing of laundry detergent, I don't know if you know this already, but it actually costs less per ounce than that smaller amount. And I'm assuming that's due to the packaging, all those other costs associated with that. Okay, so if you go and look at anything really like spaghetti sauce, if you get like a giant thing of spaghetti sauce, the cost per ounce will be less than if you get a smaller thing of spaghetti sauce. Okay, so the stuff today is just kind of talking about the unit ratio. So that means that in the end, it's going to end up with something over 1. So in this section, it gets kind of messy, and I feel like you understand the concepts now of the plus and minus. So I'm okay if we introduce calculators back into today, just so we don't get bogged down on the calculations. Okay. So example 1, we have the median sales price of homes in the Northeast is $243,900. The median household income, $53,283. Find the unit ratio, so it's going to be something over 1, of the home price to income. What does the result mean? So when I see home price to income, I like to write in those words as a fraction and then just go and fill in what I know. So home price to is your fraction bar. Okay, so when you see the 2, that's the fraction. Home price to income. And the home price, I'm just going to write that in real quick. And the income I can write in. And this is where it would be super messy if we did not use calculators, right? So in your calculator, just go ahead and punch in 243,900. And then the fraction, go ahead and hit divided by, the divided by key, 53283. And then it ends up being kind of a long decimal. So I'm just going to round just to 2 decimal points. And when I round, I put in a squiggly equals like this. And squiggly equals means approximately. So when I round, I put approximately 4.58. And then because they specifically said they want to see the unit ratio, it would be 4.58 over 1. So what this means is that the sales price is about 4.58 times the income. So let me write that in. All right, looks good. Let's go on to example 2. Convert decimal to percent or percent to decimal. So a lot of times students already know how to do this, which is very cool. If you don't know, I'll show you. Is that when you have a percent and you want to write it as a decimal, you just stick a little decimal here at the end, and as a percent, you just swing it back 2 spots. So 1, 2, and then that's your new decimal. So it'd be a 0.86. And in math, we like to put a 0 before that point. I think it's just kind of a courtesy thing, so it draws your eye to that decimal. In science, for some reason, they don't usually put in that 0. Okay, but in math, we do like to see that 0. So it's 0.86. So now the 7, this gets a tiny bit trickier. is if I go 1, 2, see there's that empty spot? I have to fill it in with a 0. So 0.07. And this last one is in a decimal. So to make it be a percent, I just swing the decimal the other way 2 spots. So 0.125, go 1, 2, and I get a 12.5 and then label it with the percent sign. Okay, so now for example 3, solving 6% of 3,000 students. So of means multiply. So you go ahead and try this one. Write the 6% as a decimal and times that by 3,000. You can use your calculator, okay? And then figure out what you get and label it with students. And then go ahead and try part B as well, okay? So go ahead and hit pause. Do those two. Come back when you're ready. Okay, so for A, 6%, so you swing that decimal 2 spots for a 0.06 times the 3,000. When you punch that in your calculator, you get 180 students. For B, we have 3.5%, swing that decimal. So we have a 0.035 times that 6,500, label with the dollars. We have $227.50. For number 4, someone's credit card balance is negative 2340. If they pay off 30%, what's the new balance? Oh, you know what? I like this one because there's 2 different ways to do it. So it's always fun to see kind of like the light bulb click on when people see the 2 different ways to do it. So you go ahead and try it your way, okay? So you have one way, and then I'm going to show both ways so that whatever you didn't pick, I can also show you. Okay, it's kind of fun. Okay, so hit pause to give it a try. Okay, so here's one way to do it. I think the majority of people usually do it this way, like probably around like 60 or 70%, is they say, well, if they pay off the 30%, they go find that 30%. So they do 0.3, which that's good, right? There's your 30% times that 2340, and they end up with 702. So then they realize, well, the person's paying off the 702. So then they go ahead and do the negative 2340, add that 702, and then that ends up being a negative 1638, right? So that's a fine way to do it, okay? So that's great. The second way some other people come up with, I like, it's really nice. Let me draw a line. So if they pay off 30%, what is remaining, right? So it's 100%, right? So if they pay off 30%, what's remaining is 70%, right? So all you would need is these 70%, so 0.7 times that balance. And I'm going to stick negative here just so that you remember that it is a negative. So 0.7 times that negative 2340, you would also still get that negative 1638. So it's kind of fun to see. You can do 30% and subtract from the total the first way, or just realize, well, if they paid off 30, all they have left is 70. So 70% of what they had left gives you that same answer of the 1638. All right, go ahead and turn the page. All right, number 5. What are the rules for multiplying and dividing positive and negative numbers? There's lots of different ways to go over this. One way, let's see. I'm going to show you 2 different ways, okay? So the second way is a lot of writing. So I'm going to put in the first one, and then I'm going to erase it, and then put in the one that's a lot of writing. So if they are the same, Let's do same sign. It's going to be positive. Different sign. It's going to be negative. Okay, so that's the short version. I'm going to write in the long version. I prefer the short version, but I know from past experience that students tend to like to see each one specifically laid out. I like the short one. Let me show you like a couple of examples. Okay, so like the same sign, like if we had positive and positive, like 2 times 2, that would be positive, right? Or if I had same sign, negative 2 times negative 2, that would be positive. Now, if it's a different sign, it's going to be negative. So if it was like negative 2 times 2, it would be negative 4. Or if it was 2 times negative 2, so see how they have different signs? That would be negative 4. So the same sign, so it's positive, positive is positive. Same sign, negative, negative is positive. Different signs, negative, positive is negative. Different signs, positive, negative is negative. So that's the way I like to think of it. But all those words that I just wrote out are the way students seem to like it. So if you like this and you don't have it down yet, hit pause. And then I'm going to erase it and write out the long version that I've noticed people tend to favor. Okay, so I'm just going to write them all out. Here we go. Negative times negative is positive. Negative times positive is negative. Positive times negative is negative. And positive times positive is positive. All right, so there we go. There's also a little chart that sometimes I show off to the side, but that usually ends up confusing people. So if you know what I'm talking about already and that's the way that you like to do it, go ahead and go with that. If you have another way to remember it, I'm sure it's fine. If you aren't sure, just run it by me and I'll let you know if it will work every time. Okay, so next, number 6 is the following true or false. Oh, so look at that. And I keep saying this, right? That the negative, you can float it up top, you can put it on the bottom, or you can throw it out front, and every single one of those is the same. I say that all the time, so you know that's true. Number 7. Oh, this is it. Okay, so I mean, there's a lot of them, but now we just have the rest of this page, and we're out of here. Okay, so let me see how many I can get on one page. Maybe. Let me see if I can get just a D on there. So if you can, go ahead and hit pause here. Do this A through D, and then hop over and do H. Okay, so hit pause now, and then we'll come back and I'll walk you through them. Okay, so A through D and H, please. Hit pause, give it a try when you're ready. All right, so 4 times negative 2. So a positive times a negative is a negative 8. Negative 6 times 3, a negative and a positive is a negative 18. 7 and negative 4 is a positive with a negative is a negative 28. Negative 0.2 times a positive 0.3 is a negative 0.06. On that one, a lot of people get confused. They tell me it should just be negative 0.6. So you can punch into your calculator. I don't think that you should just trust your calculator, right? Because you might key in something wrong. So I think it's good to question things. I love it. I'm going to show you off to the side, long way, why this is the way that it is. So a 0.2, I don't expect you to do this. I'm just showing it so that you believe me. 2 times 3 going down would be a 6. And then if you like worked your way across for the zeros, that'd be kind of weird, right? But when you multiply, you take as many decimal spots as you have in your problem. So there's 1 decimal spot, here's a 2nd decimal spot, and that's how many you know how to swing it over. So it'd be a 1, 2, there's your decimal, so it'd be a 0.06. So that's why it's a 0.06 instead of just 0.6, just in case if you didn't believe it. All right, and H, we got division, so that's where we do that keep, change, flip that we talked about. So a negative 1/6, and I like to bring it up top like I told you already. Like I tell you all the time, negative 1/6. So keep, change, flip, so a 5/3, and it's still a negative, so I'm going to pop that up top. And multiply straight across the top, straight across the bottom. So I have a negative 1 times a negative 5 is a positive 5 over a 6 times 3 is a positive 18. And I can't do anything with it, so that is done. All right, let's see if I can get the rest of the page on here. Oh, I can. Cool. Okay, so go ahead and try that E, F, G, and the I, J, K. And when you're ready to see the work, hit play. Okay, negative 5 times negative 6. The negative times a negative is a positive 30. Next one, I'm just going to imagine these up top. So negative 3 times negative 5 would be a positive 15 over across the bottom. 2 times 7 is 14. A negative 10 divided by 2. So a negative divided by a positive is a negative 5. Hopping over to I, we have a negative 20 over a negative 5. A negative and a negative is a positive 4. And in the next one, I don't know about you, but that is confusing to me when I see the negative on the bottom. If you like it, you can leave it. I'm going to move it up top just so it looks normal to me. So now I have a negative 3 over 5 plus a 1 over 5. So now negative 3 plus 1 ends up being that negative 2, right? So negative 2 over 5. And your final answer can have that negative up top, bottom, or up front. And the last one is 24 divided by negative 3. So I have a positive by a negative to get a negative 8. And that wraps up section 2.5. You did awesome. I hope you have a great day.